Motion in your step.
Motivation in your heart.
Hello, and welcome to today's Motion and Motivation podcast.
We've put together a study guide for everyone. If you need it, you can grab it from the video description. All right, ready to dive deep.
Always up for a deep dive, especially when it involves a legend like Bob Iger.
This time we're taking you inside the rise of Bob Iger, Disney's former CEO, with his memoir, The Ride of a Lifetime. But this isn't just a biography, is it?
Right, it's more than that. Think of it as a masterclass in leadership, packed with real-world examples from Iger's incredible journey.
Exactly. We're talking about the man who brought Star Wars and Marvel into the Disney family. We want to uncover those leadership secrets, the ones behind those legendary deals.
And the best part, Iger doesn't just drop into the CEO chair. He takes us back to his early days.
Yeah, like grinding it out at ABC, right? Those early experiences really shaped his leadership style.
Absolutely. He talks about this intense experience early on. Picture this, Frank Sinatra. Live TV performance.
Uh-oh, I'm already nervous, haha.
Sinatra needs a very specific type of mouthwash. And guess who gets tasked with making it happen?
A young Bob Iger.
You got it. Iger could have easily passed it off. I mean, he was just starting out, right?
Yeah. I can see myself saying, not my job, man.
Right. But not Iger, no. He was relentless. Raced to every drugstore, found the mouthwash, even got a little FaceTime with Sinatra himself.
Talk about a high-pressure situation. That's a pretty gutsy move for someone just starting out.
And that story, it's not just about mouthwash, is it? It's about Iger's commitment to excellence, even the smallest details. It's about showing his team what dedication looks like. And this theme, it pops up again when he talks about working with Roone Arledge. Remember that story about the North Korea ping pong tournament?
Oh, yeah, that one was wild. Trying to secure broadcasting rights in North Korea back then. Talk about a long shot. Most people would have said, no way.
And that's where Iger's risk appetite shines through. He sees a challenge and he jumps in head first.
And this is decades ago, right? Nobody had done this before.
Exactly. But Iger, he navigates international politics, comes up with creative solutions, and boom, history is made. It reminds you that sometimes the greatest opportunities come from taking calculated risks, even when everyone else is saying no. Has there ever been a time you backed down from a challenge?
Oh, for sure. Thinking about it now, maybe I should have taken a chance.
Right. It makes you rethink those moments. And a big part of what shaped his approach to risk was his mentors. Let's talk about Tom Murphy and Dan Burke, the dynamic duo at Cap Cities ABC.
They had a huge influence on Iger, right? Pushing him outside of his comfort zone, constantly giving him new challenges.
They believed in throwing him into the deep end. They knew that sometimes the best way to learn is by doing, even if it means making a few mistakes along the way.
It sounds counterintuitive, right? Like, shouldn't you master one thing before moving on to the next? But their mentorship shows that sometimes the greatest growth comes from embracing those sink or swim moments.
It's a powerful lesson in saying yes to opportunities, even when you're not entirely sure what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Those moments, those challenges, they push you to learn and adapt faster than you ever thought possible.
Totally. And when you think about what Iger faced later on, it's clear that those early lessons were crucial.
Like when Disney acquired Cap Cities ABC. That was a whole new ball game.
Right. Two giant companies with very different ways of doing things. Talk about a potential culture clash.
You had Disney's more centralized approach,
Hmm.
and then you had Cap Cities ABC, which was much more decentralized, hands-off.
You can imagine the internal friction, everyone trying to figure out how these two worlds would merge. It sounds like Iger had to do a lot of balancing act. Keep things running smoothly, merge the cultures, and keep everyone's eyes on the prize.
Absolutely. And one of the most illustrative examples from that period is the Michael Ovitz era. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Ovitz, a big Hollywood agent, comes in as Disney's president.
And it blew up pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, big time. The relationship between Ovitz and Disney CEO Michael Eisner, it just turned toxic. Clashes, undermining each other, it was a mess.
It was a high-stakes power struggle, and unfortunately, the entire company felt the impact.
Iger was kind of stuck in the middle of it all, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. But what's fascinating is how he navigated that whole situation.
So what did he do?
He stayed focused, kept building relationships, never lost sight of the bigger picture. It's a really good example of navigating complex office politics. You see that kind of thing happen a lot.
All the time. It's like every workplace has its own little dramas.
It's inevitable. But Iger's experience reminds us that staying focused on your goals, building strong relationships, can help you get through even the toughest situations.
And through it all, he's got this pulse on the future of entertainment. Case in point, The Pixar acquisition.
Which, let's be real, was a total game changer, right?
Huge. I mean, we're talking about the studio that gave us Toy Story, Finding Nemo, but this was bigger than just buying hit movies.
Way bigger. This was about recognizing Pixar's innovative spirit. They were pushing the boundaries of storytelling. Remember that anecdote about Steve Jobs? The
So
iPhone?
with the video, Iger sees that and he's like, this changes everything.
He understood the potential of that technology, how it could change the way we experience entertainment. But remember, at that time, the relationship between Jobs and Disney was, well,
Let's just say a little rocky.
to put it mildly, there was a lot of tension left over from the Eisner era.
But Iger knew that to bring Pixar into the fold, to really make this work, he had to mend that relationship with Jobs.
And he does it. He
Yeah.
puts aside any ego, any past conflicts, and approaches Jobs with respect, focuses on their shared vision. It's a masterclass in bridge building.
It takes a certain kind of leader to do that, to swallow your pride and say, we need to work together. But it paid off, didn't it?
Big time. And not just financially, although that was certainly part of it. Iger understood that Pixar's culture of innovation, their way of storytelling, it was something Disney needed to embrace.
He was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. He was looking ahead, seeing the future of animation.
Exactly. But the bold moves don't stop there. Enter Marvel and Lucasfilm.
Okay, those were massive. Even some of Iger's closest advisors thought he was crazy. Billions of dollars for comic books and space operas?
Even Steve Jobs, a visionary in his own right, questioned the Marvel deal. He asked Iger why. Why would you buy a library of comic book characters?
And Iger's response.
We'll see, Steve. We'll see. Talk about confidence.
I mean, that's some serious faith in his instincts. But it wasn't just a gamble, was it? He saw the potential of those franchises, those characters.
He recognized their timeless appeal. These weren't just passing fads. These were stories that could be told and retold, connecting with audiences across generations.
It's about understanding the power of a good story, right? And these franchises had that in spades.
Absolutely. And they had these incredibly passionate fan bases. Iger tapped into that. But it's also about having the courage to take risks, to bet big on your vision, even when others have their doubts.
He was playing the long game, building a media empire, not just chasing quick profits. It makes you think, what's that long game in your own life? What are you passionate about, even if others don't quite see the vision yet?
That's the question, isn't it? We all have our own unique talents, our own superpowers. Iger's story reminds us to embrace those, to trust our gut, even when it's scary. And speaking of scary, let's talk about disruption. The media landscape was changing rapidly.
Right. This is where Iger shows he's not afraid to shake things up. Traditional media was being disrupted, and he knew it. Enter streaming, enter Disney Plus trap.
Talk about a pivotal moment. He decides to go all in on streaming, even though it meant disrupting Disney's own successful business models.
That's huge. Most leaders, they'd stick with what's working, even if it's slowly becoming obsolete.
But Iger, he was willing to cannibalize his own business to stay ahead of the curve. He knew that the future of media was digital, on demand, and he wasn't going to be left behind.
And it's not like he jumped at every new thing. He famously walked away from a deal to acquire Twitter.
That was a big deal. There's a lot of pressure to make that happen.
Oh, yeah, from his board, from Wall Street, everyone.
Yeah.
But Iger had concerns about the platform's culture, the negativity, and how it would align with Disney's brand.
It shows a certain level of integrity. He wasn't just chasing profits. He was thinking about the bigger picture.
He was protecting the brand, the legacy. But let's be real, leading Disney isn't all about making deals and launching streaming services. Iger also had to deal with some incredibly tough, very human situations. The Pulse nightclub shooting, for example.
Absolutely. A terrible tragedy.
It really makes you think about the weight of responsibility on a leader's shoulders, especially in a situation like that.
It's unimaginable, really. And what's striking is how Iger responds not just as a CEO, but as a human being.
He writes about it so honestly, so emotionally in the book. You can tell this wasn't just a PR crisis for him. It was deeply personal.
Exactly. He talks about how close to home it hit, how Disney World was actually the shooter's original target. Chilling.
And then, as if that wasn't enough, he has to deal with the alligator attack at the Grand Floridian Resort right as he's preparing for the grand opening of Shanghai Disneyland.
Talk about a tough couple of weeks.
I can't even imagine the pressure. Launching a multi-billion-dollar theme park on one hand, and on the other, dealing with these horrific tragedies.
It really highlights that leadership isn't just about strategy and spreadsheets. It's about navigating the human side of things, the emotional toll, the unexpected crises.
And Iger shows us how to do that with grace, with empathy, with a deep sense of responsibility. But let's shift gears a bit, because we can't talk about Iger's legacy without mentioning Black Panther.
Oh, absolutely. That film was a cultural phenomenon.
Iger devotes a whole chapter to it in his book, and it's clear this wasn't just about box office success for him. This was about representation.
About time. Hollywood needed that.
It was about showcasing Black excellence, telling stories that hadn't been told on that scale before. And Iger deserves credit for recognizing that.
And for trusting Ryan Coogler's vision. He could easily brought in a big-name director, but he gave Coogler the creative freedom to make the film he wanted to make.
And it resonated with audiences worldwide. It proved that diversity isn't just a buzzword, it's good business. It makes for better stories, more impactful experiences.
100%. And it challenges Hollywood to do better, to be more inclusive. So where do we go from here? Iger's achieved incredible things at Disney. What's next for him?
Right. What do you do after running the happiest place on earth? Well, he hints at political aspirations in the book.
That's interesting. With his experience, his global perspective, he could make a real impact.
He certainly knows how to lead, how to navigate complex challenges, how to build consensus. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I'm sure whatever he chooses to do, it'll be big.
One thing's for sure, Bob Iger's story is one for the books. It's a testament to hard work, to dedication, to a relentless pursuit of excellence.
And it's a powerful reminder that leadership is about more than just profits and bottom lines. It's about integrity, empathy, and leaving the world a little better than you found it.
I think that's a great place to wrap up.
I agree.
So, to our listeners, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
We'll be back next time with another fascinating deep dive. Until then, take care.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. That way you won't miss any of our updates. Also, if you think this video could help others, please share it with them. Thanks for watching and for your support.